My name is Blake. I have been trading with prop firms for over a year and a half now. I've tried so many of them. I've made quite a few videos on a lot of them, and this is my story on how I got started and how I got into prop trading in the very first place. My journey began when I was initially introduced to prop firms by one of the students at a different company than VVS, who I was working as an educator for. So while I was an educator for that company, one of the students brought it up and they said, hey, do you guys have any experience with this? What is that whole thing? Is it legit? So I ended up doing some research that night on what prop firms are. A prop firm is essentially a proprietary firm. It's a firm that you usually pay a small amount of money to try out a challenge or get immediate funding. And then that prop firm will supply a much larger amount of money that you then can trade for them. And if you gain some amount of money on account with the live account, then you get to keep a portion of that account for yourself. Usually it's around 50%. I've seen up to 80 and even 90% on some prop firms, but usually it stays around that area. I ended up not trying out any prop firm for myself at that time. I ended up waiting until I actually started my own company, VVS Academy, and I even already hired my first ever person ever, which was Bird. By the way, huge shout out to Bird. He's an amazing trader. I brought him on as a student for that other company that I was an educator for, but then he came over to my company as an actual educator for the company that I started, VVS Academy. So Bird actually ended up finding this company called FTMO, which I'm sure a lot of you already know about, and I was so lucky that Bird had found that company rather than the ones that I was looking at, because I ended up trying FTMO first. Now, if for those of you that don't know a lot about the prop firm space, there's a lot of prop firms out there that are no good at all. And FTMO, in my opinion at least, is not one of those firms. They're so much better than so much other ones. I still recommend them as one of my very top best prop firms, as seen in my top 7 best prop firm videos, which you can find right here. But basically, that prop firm experience was so incredible to me. I ended up trying out I ended up paying for that challenge myself, and I ended up doing pretty well the first time. I ended up passing both the challenge and the verification. By the way, for those of you that don't know, you have to make 10% on account for the challenge phase before losing 10%, and for the verification phase after that, then you have to make 5% before losing 10%, and then you have a funded account. So I was able to do that on my very first try. However, I was not able to make any money on my first challenge and verification pass. I ended up passing both challenge and verification, and ended up losing my funded account once I got it. And I was pretty dismayed by this. I was really kind of heartbroken to the whole prop firm experience, which I really didn't like, but it was still a huge foot in the door. I was ecstatic that I was even able to pass just the challenge alone was incredible. It's definitely something that not everyone can do by any standard. But after that point, I ended up looking for other prop firms because it's like, this one's awesome. I love the fact that I just got $100,000 of AUM, assets under management, from FTMO, but I want to try and see if I can get more from another firm. Now, this ended up being a mistake. I actually ended up going with a company called Fidelcris, which, by the way, everything I say in this video is my opinion, but in my opinion, it was not a very good experience. I ended up trying out for the $200,000 option that they had, which was the maximum at the time. It was a very different website than it is now, and I followed every single rule. I ended up getting the 10% pass on their challenge, which was really hard for me for some reason. A different amount of money. I've never traded with $200,000 up to that point, and it was a little difficult at the time, but I did do it on my very first try with that one as well, and I was so ecstatic. I just won 2 challenges in a row, so I thought. Because what ended up happening was there was what is, in my opinion, a hidden clause in there in the terms of service, or terms and conditions, one of the two, where they actually mentioned that you have to keep, you're only allowed to use 10 or 20, I forgot exactly what it is, 10 or 20% of the margin available given to you. Now, I end up using around half of the margin given to me. What that means is they give you 1 to 100 leverage, same as FTMO. so I thought, but instead of being allowed to use that full leverage, you're only allowed to use 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, whatever it was. Maybe it was 1 to 20. I don't remember exactly which of the two numbers was, but it was one of those two very small numbers, which basically made it essentially like it was only a 1 to 10 account leverage, or 1/10 of the size of account that you actually think you're going for. So it's basically either 1 to 100 at a 20K account, even though you thought you were getting a 200K, or it's more like getting a $200,000 account that you can only use 1 to 20 leverage on. So that's pretty bad, in my opinion, that they do that. It was kind of hidden, like I said, in my opinion. Now I believe they're a little more transparent with it, but I ended up passing the challenge. I got the 10%. I was so ecstatic. I emailed them like, hey guys, I passed your challenge. Go ahead and send me on to the next phase. They emailed back saying, oops, sorry, you used too much margin. And I didn't even know that was a rule because it was not on the rules section at the time. It was only in the terms and conditions at that time. And so I didn't know about it. I maybe would have been able to trade a little better. They offered me a free retry, but I think, or something like that, they ended up refunding me, or I don't remember exactly what happened, but it was a very bad experience overall. I thought I'd put in all this work. I stayed up really late, so many nights, just trying to pass their challenge, and I did, so I thought. And then that was the worst experience I've ever had with any prop firm, personally. I do think there are maybe some worse prop firms out there, but I've just been able to spot those now that I've had this experience, and I haven't even been able to, I've intentionally avoided them from the first place. So after that experience, I went back to FTMO. I did a couple more challenges, and eventually I was able to pass again, and I was able to get a huge first withdrawal from FTMO on an account. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out this video right here. In that video, I show you how I went from $0 up to $27,000 in profit on a $100,000 account in a single month. And then with that, I ended up keeping $19,000 of profit because FTMO has a 70% profit split in the trader's favor. So that's around $19,000. I also got the challenge fee reimbursed. Super awesome. Huge props to FTMO for actually being a legitimate, real company and actually following through with that. Really, really appreciate them. Again, still recommend them as one of the top, if not the top, prop firm out there. But basically from that experience, I was just so ecstatic. I ended up using some of that money to fund an options account, and I ended up doing really, really well with that options account, which you can see from my AMD rocket ship video as well as my Tesla video as well. I ended up trading both of those with buy call options, and those ended up doing fantastic, ended up making the account skyrocket essentially. So that was really how I started my prop firm journey. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I really only meant this for a sharing experience, something to help you and inspire you to hopefully try out prop firms for yourself. If you think you're ready. If you don't think you're ready, it's no big deal. If you do want help, you can check out vvsacademy.com. That's going to be the very best place on the internet to help you advance your trading abilities to the next level to where you can actually pass these prop firms. That's the exact strategy that I use to pass all of these. Still using the same strategy now. It's written on my board. You can't really see it, but a lot of my notes for the main strategy, the backbone of my strategy, Elliott Wave Theory, is on the board right now. And that's just something that I am so passionate about. So if you do want assistance, there's me as well as other educators within VVS Academy that can help you take your trading to the next level. That being said, I'm really curious what other videos you guys are interested in seeing. I am moving pretty soon. I just sold my house. If you guys want to see a house tour before I go, let me know in the comments below. I think you guys might really like that, just to see my other sources of income. Speaking of which, if you want to see an income breakdown in total, let me know as well in the comments below. But I really like this kind of video where it's just more conversational. This is my first one, so if you guys do like it, hit me with a thumbs up. If you don't like it, hit me with a thumbs down, just so you can know if you guys really like this kind of content or not. That being said, I really do hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.